This could be one of the greatest weeks for automotive enthusiasm. It is the SEMA show, and we are actually already in Vegas. We've been there for a couple of days by the time you're hearing this. The show hasn't started yet. That's how hardcore we are. Holman and I are there, camping out in a hotel just feet from the Las Vegas Convention Center, salivating. Is that true? Or did I overstate?
We're probably sweating because by the time they're listening to this, we're humping it all over SEMA. I know I've got an incredibly busy week ahead of us.
Hold on. Careful how you use humping, all right?
Well, it is Vegas. I've got an incredibly busy week ahead of us, so we've got a in-booth show that we're going to be recording live on Wednesday from 4 to 6 in the EGR booth. So if you happen to be at SEMA, come by, get a free beer, check it out. If you see us randomly walking around the show, just offer us a beer. We'll be happy to take a picture with you and drink your beer.
I'll be the one in the bank shirt, and Holman will be the one in the Truck Show Podcast shirt.
Actually, that's not true. Just grab me a Dr. Pepper because they are scarce. I think the Las Vegas Convention Center is a Pepsi place.
Yeah, it is.
And not everybody has Dr. Pepper. There's a few stands that do.
There's some vending machines, aren't there? Or no, there isn't. It's the pizza place.
There's the pizza place. Yeah. There's only a couple in the deli place in the center hall. So if you really want me to spend time with you, talk to you, take photos, just hand me a Dr. Pepper.
Beer or Dr. Pepper?
No, Dr. Pepper. I will,
really?
Trust me, there'll be enough after-hours beers. I will not want to see a beer for a while because, well, you know how SEMA is. I am excited about SEMA this week as you hear this, even though recording it right before we leave. And we hope to bring a bunch of content to you guys about SEMA, so stay tuned for our next episode. But on this episode, it's going to be pretty awesome. We're going to talk to Nick Mrzlak from Team Rubicon, and if you are thinking, what's Team Rubicon? You're probably not alone, but it turns out they're one of the biggest humanitarian organizations here in the United States, and they use some really great trucks to accomplish their work, so we're going to talk to them. And then I've been on my truck search, so I want to bring you up to date on what I've been learning while
Wait a
doing
minute.
that.
Hold on. You haven't given the search up.
No,
you stopped sending me listings.
No,
from
I know,
car
because you got angry.
Stuff.
You're like, stop sending me stuff.
No, I was not angry.
Well,
I was
you stopped
enjoying
responding.
But you were doing it at like 11:30 at night.
That's when I do it.
I know that, but I get up at like 5:30 in the morning.
Yeah, and so turn your thing off.
I can't. I like getting messages late
see,
at night.
that's a you problem then. I figure if you don't want it, it'll be off. If you want to, then don't respond.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then we've got some emails from you guys. So before we get into the show, we got to thank our friends over at Nissan, and the brand new 2025 Nissan Frontier is hitting dealerships.
Yes.
Definitely want to check that out. New interior with the new 12.3-inch screen. It's got the new grille. It's got the new wheels on the Pro 4X, which is awesome, although the whole range has new wheels, new grills. It's a nice upgrade. One of the biggest upgrades is the fact that you can get a 6-foot crew cab bed on a couple different trims now. So you can get a Pro 4X with a long bed, which is super rad. Of course, it has the same 318 horsepower, 3.8-liter V6, backed by a 9-speed automatic, and it's got the Bilstein shocks and the locker on the Pro 4X. Or if you are more luxury-minded and more city-minded, you want to pick up the SL, which is the luxed up version of the Frontier. So
that's the Lightning model.
That's right. It's got a more urban wheel and tire package, I think, that you would appreciate. You can find out all about the brand new 2025 Nissan Frontier at nissanusa.com, or you can schedule a test drive at home through the Nissan at Home program, or head on down to your local dealership, get your butt in that seat, and take it for a spin around the block. I think you'll find out the new Nissan Frontier is one of the best choices in midsize trucks.
And Holman, I bet you didn't know this. Last week, Mr. Gale Banks added yet another, there's another spot on his wall that will be a patent. I think this is patent probably like number 27 or 28. So this patent pending. You were at the Banks Friends and Family event a couple of weeks ago.
I was not only at it, but I was
kind of hosted.
I was the
MC.
The MC, sure.
The MC. So if you were in North Engineering, you would have seen the new Banks Ram Air transmission pan, which fits all of the Allison 1000 5 and 6-speed transmissions, which is basically 2001 to 2019. You're like, Ram Air transmission pan. Is this another transmission? What? So you guys are familiar with the Banks Ram Air rear differential cover, channels air up through its fins that hang down below. Gale used that same technology for the transmission pan. So there's a plastic scoop that's designed to break away if need be, that takes the cool road air and channels it up through the long, thin die-cast fins. And, get this, Holman, since you don't drive a truck with an Allison, the factory Transpan does not have a drain plug.
Yeah,
if you want to drain, you have to take the whole pan down, and it's a mess. This one has a magnetic drain plug that is super, super easy, and a fill port on the side. Anyway, if you've got an Allison Trans in your Duramax, or maybe you've done a Trans swap in your Cummins, it's possible. Head over to bankspower.com, type in your year and make and model, and check one out for yourself.
All right, so this week I was talking to our friends at AMSOIL, and it looks like that little promotion that we were teasing last week is going to happen.
With the little box of...
We'll announce it when the time comes here in the next few weeks. But it got me thinking, what other fun little things does AMSOIL offer? I know
my favorite jacket. They make my favorite jacket that I have 60 jackets in my wardrobe, and they make the best one. And they had it done at like a company in Wisconsin. That's how geeky I am. Sorry, back to you, Holman.
All right, so on the AMSOIL.com website, of course, you can see all the different motor oils they have: gas, diesel, European, high mileage, hybrid, racing, high zinc, natural gas, all your 2- and 4-stroke stuff. But then I started kind of looking around, and of course, I knew that they had all the different lubricants and car care products. And then I saw, wait, what? Tools and garage accessories? And I had forgotten that you could get everything from an AMSOIL stool to a fender cover to a clock to something I actually own, and that's the firearms cleaning mat. Mm-hmm. So it's a great place for your Staccato 2011 or your modified 1911 like I have to be cleaned, and use the AMSOIL firearm cleaner and lubricant, which is awesome. And of course, we also find the oil analysis kits, and those are less than $40, and it comes with everything you need to take your old oil, send it into the lab, and have them tell you you're using the wrong oil, pal. Mm-hmm. Switch over to our good stuff.
So that's what happens when you oil the Banks transmission pan, and it comes with the AMSOIL fluid kit. You drop the old fluid, and you send it to AMSOIL, and you say, hey, analyze this, and tell me if there's any guts of my transmission floating around in this fluid.
And if there is, hopefully you caught it soon enough where a fluid swap to AMSOIL will take care of your problem. AMSOIL.com, they are the first in synthetics and also merchandise.
And there's never been a better time to buy a retractable bed cover at EGRUSA.com. EGR's got an amazing sale going on right now. You can save up to 30% off, plus you'll get a rebate of $250 on all manual roll track bed covers. Let me say that again. You can save up to 30% off the very best tonneau cover on the market, the Roll Track, plus get an additional $250 rebate. Hit their online store today at EGRUSA.com.
The Truck Show. We're gonna show you what we know. We're gonna answer what the truck, 'cause truck rhymes with the Truck Show. We have the lifted, we have the lowered, and everything in between. We'll talk about trucks that run on diesel and the ones that run on gasoline. The Truck Show, the Truck Show, the Truck Show. Whoa, whoa.
It's the Truck Show with your hosts, Lightning and Holman.
All right, are we ready to... Wow, am I going through puberty? What's happening over here?
I was wondering if...
Check. Me.
Whoa.
Let's start the show with Mr. Nick Mrzlak. He's at Team Rubicon, and if it sounds like a Jeep organization, you'd be wrong. It's actually guys who do good work for the community.
So let's give Nick a call and find out what exactly Team Rubicon does and what they're up to.
I guess it's my phone, so I will dial. Here we go.
Hello, this is Nick.
Hey, Nick, Lightning and Holman, Truck Show Podcast. How you doing?
Yeah, hello, everyone. It's great to see you guys, Lightning, Holman. Appreciate you guys taking a chance to talk with Team Rubicon.
Awesome.
This is going to be really interesting. In fact, I found out about you guys probably 5 or 6 years ago when I was working at Four Wheeler Magazine, and we had tried to do something way back when, and for whatever corporate reasons, things fall apart or don't happen. And so when this opportunity came to talk to you guys, it was awesome because what you guys do is freaking incredible. So real quick, we've got a jingle for you, and then we will get into the show.
Everyone gets one. Sorry.
Pull up a stool and share. Pull up a stool and share a story. Pull up a stool and share. How about you pull up a stool and share with us?
All right, so we've got Nick Mrzlak from Team Rubicon, and the first time I heard Team Rubicon, I was thinking, oh, this must be a bunch of Jeepers that go on a trail by
think
Lake
that,
Tahoe,
yes.
but no.
Yeah.
Team Rubicon is a veteran-led volunteer organization that goes into areas for disaster relief from hurricanes, wildfires, and just has an incredible story. So, Nick, I will let you take it from there or correct all the wrong things I just said.
No, I appreciate it. And you're right. We get confused with a Jeep club on a pretty regular basis. That's the Rubicon that most folks know. And so a little background on that story. The Rubicon, if you look back in ancient military history, it's the river Julius Caesar crossed as a point of no return. And that's where we derived our name. So just a little bit of clarity on that one. And you're right. We are a veteran-led volunteer humanitarian organization. We have about 170,000 volunteers spread out across the country.
Holy mackerel.
We work in global communities before, during, and after crisis. So internationally, we do a lot of medical work. Picture teams of doctors, nurses, and paramedics with backpacks making their way into remote villages to provide medical care. And domestically, we respond to, every kind of disaster, really. Hurricanes, floods, tornadoes, you name it. We do a lot of wildfire mitigation work out west. And then just whatever the task is, we're pretty adaptable and nimble. And so we can kind of meet whatever need.
Now, are you guys a 501c3 nonprofit, or what is the organization structure, and how many people run it? Obviously, you've got way over 100,000 volunteers. What does that look like? From how do you deploy people? Who are the people in charge? How does that work?
And what's your involvement?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we are 501c3, and we're incorporated there in LA. Though we're spread out across the country, so our employees work, all corners of the country. I'm talking to you from Farmington, New Mexico. That's up in the Four Corners part of New Mexico, just south of Durango, Colorado. And we have people just spread out all over. There's about 150 employees that run the organization. And then we primarily run all of our operations with volunteers. So the employees are in total support of the volunteers that are out there doing great work. My position is the director of mission support. And so all of the functions that are a shared resource across the country, this is things like logistics, our mission planning, our mission execution teams, our overhead teams. I get to work with all of those teams. So it's really a pretty incredible job, as well as our training teams. And training is a really important part. Obviously, we're bringing volunteers from all walks of life, not just veterans, but, when we originally designed the organization, we realized that veterans paired with first responders made a pretty good team working on disasters. They could figure out a lot of problems, and that's evolved now into an organization that supports all kinds of volunteers from all different backgrounds. And when we think about disaster response, that's not just the labor that we do, the hard work of mucking out houses, moving sandbags, or working, cutting up trees, but we're doing heavy equipment. We're doing technical skills. We have a lot of technology in our organization. We work with all the big platforms from Esri to our Microsoft partners, you name it. And so we put a lot of technology in this, for sure.
First off,
like I said, go ahead, please.
You have the raddest title ever, Mission Support Director. I mean, it sounds
like he's launching spaceships.
That's exactly right. Yeah. Way cooler than either that. And by the way, you guys are like saintly compared to Holman and I. It's amazing. How did the organization, Nick, get started? Like, what was the impetus?
So we had some remarkable stakeholders at the very beginning that basically on a whim in 2010 decided, after the earthquake in Haiti, in Port-au-Prince, they decided to jump on planes, and essentially they made it down to the Dominican Republic and hiked their way into Port-au-Prince, essentially caught some rides across the border. There's a river at the border, thus the idea that once they crossed over, they were crossing the Rubicon. That was a conglomeration of Marines, some firefighters, a couple of doctors that were on their way down there. And when you see these big international disasters, people kind of come out of the woodwork to try to find a way to help. And that is really our origin story. Eventually, after that, once they realized they're pretty good at it, they hopped onto a couple other disasters, another earthquake in Chile.
Well, but Nick, how did they? Who's the they, and how did they find each other?
Okay.
Was it like a bunch of fraternity brothers? You know what I mean? How do those kind of people, disparate people, come together?
Originally, the first couple of guys, what we would call our founders, were Jake Wood and Will McNulty. They were a couple of Marines that worked together overseas and had just been discharged from the Marine Corps after tours in Iraq and Afghanistan. They were the impetus, and then they brought along a couple of other folks that had like minds, military backgrounds, and then some of it was just coincidence. Honestly, they met some people on the plane, and they said, "Hey, you guys want to hop in?" And then they made their way down, tied in with a church group down there in Haiti, and set up a mobile, or not mobile, but they set up a hospital clinic, essentially, treating hundreds of I mean, after Haiti, that was a huge earthquake, if you remember back how that went.
Massive earthquake. And they didn't have the resources there. I mean, it really took outside help and, getting hospital ships down there and all sorts of stuff, because everything was just leveled. Yeah.
And a lot of it still is leveled, honestly. The last time I was there, it's still pretty damaged, but it was a great mission. And they were able to help hundreds of people, if not thousands, and really get a response started in one part of Port-au-Prince. And there's obviously huge responses going on down there at the time.
I'm absolutely inspired by you guys having 170,000 volunteers. I sit on the board of directors for a nonprofit, and I'm looking at your annual partners lists. In the $1 million plus category, A. James and Alice B. Clark Foundation, Ford, Microsoft, Home Depot, T-Mobile, Travelers, the Marcus Foundation, USAA, Wells Fargo, Under Armour, and then the next level at 500 is Carhartt, FedEx, PwC, Target, CNH. I mean, you just go down the list. It's every brand. The next one, Apple and Chick-fil-A and Lowe's and Hearst Foundation. You go down the list, and it's everybody that you have ever shopped at, bought from, interacted with, all these great big corporate sponsors. But then you also have a ton of small donation people, and that's available on your website, teamrubiconusa.org. And it's amazing to see how engaged basically the greater business community is with you guys to make these missions happen. I mean, obviously, that takes a lot of work, and it takes you guys proving the skill sets that you have to efficiently manage all that money.
Yeah, it's really our incredible partners and our donors who make the mission possible. We couldn't do anything without their support, and it probably leads us right into our partners from Ford, who have supported us this year with a sizable donation of Ford vehicles to help build out a fleet of response trucks.
So
and I think that's kind of the meat of where we're going.
Yeah, we wanted to get you on. I had some friends at Ford contact me, and they said, "Hey, we're partnered up with Team Rubicon. Have you heard of them?" I said, "Oh yeah, absolutely." And they said, we've done some novel things with them this year. We have this fleet of F-150s that have the Pro Power on board, which is their basically onboard generator system. And they said, they're able to take these trucks out in the field, and because the truck can supply or export power, it allows them to basically, you're not wasting your bed space with a generator because the truck's the generator. So it allows you to pack more materials and supplies and other things and then work remotely in the field from these trucks. I went, wow, that's a really interesting story. I mean, I think we've heard stories from Ford where people have powered their homes in power outage, or somebody is, using their electric chainsaw on the side of the trail, or somebody's making margaritas. But this is such a higher next level use case for this type of technology. What does it mean to you to have that, that technology at your disposal?
First, the Ford trucks themselves have been just amazing vehicles for us. It's the right kind of vehicle to do the type of work that we're doing. With the Pro Power on board, and I'll give you some examples here in a second, but that Pro Power has a 7.2 kilowatt generator on there. It has, outlets in the bed that'll run, 4 120, volt outlets, and then they have a 240 volt outlet that I haven't used yet on my truck, on the truck that I use. It should be said that the trucks are spread out around the country and respond to local disasters on a regular basis. But when something like Hurricane Helene Hurricane Milton comes in, we'll surge all those trucks down to the event. And in this case, the truck that I use, I was able to go down and be part of the advanced group. So we send fleets of vehicles out in advance of an approaching storm with really a route clearance package. And this is these will be some heavy duty trucks with CTLs, some gear trailers and Sawyer teams. And those teams will drop in immediately after the storm passes as quick as they can. And they'll start helping communities by cutting the access routes, primarily on artery roads and then into the feeder roads as the community needs. They work alongside Public Works or the local emergency response. And in some cases, they'll be working with federal USAR teams to cut access in. So all of that to be said, when we're out there, there is no power. There is, in a lot of cases, no water. These trucks do a great job of providing both of those. The generator is quiet. It's almost silent when it's running by itself. And then when the truck fires up to recharge the batteries, then, it does this automatically. It runs off the battery for the power until the battery gets low enough. The truck fires back up and charges the battery back up in about 15 minutes and then shuts itself automatically back down. And we can use that to power. I haven't found the limit to it yet. And I'll give you some examples. In this most recent hurricane, I was down there with the vice president of our organization. And we get in there kind of early as we start to look at the damage and see what type of response we want to do. We're partnered up with these route clearance teams. And in that truck, I spent, just shy of 3 weeks driving up and down the path of the storm, about 6,000 miles. We lived out of that truck. The truck that I use has a grid rack deck system in the back and a smart cap camper on the top. And we were able to basically survive out of that truck. Sometimes, we'd have a fire station to sleep in, but a lot of times we're tent camping. The whole time we're running computers. We have a electric cooler in the back, like a refrigerated cooler in the back. The truck is full of Milwaukee equipment from our partners at Milwaukee. And so I have all of the battery powered tools in there, as well as battery powered, the MS300 steel chainsaw. And we're able to not only make it up and down the path of the storm, but able to survive out there, cut our way through roads that are occluded with trees. And we saw a lot of that going through Georgia, South Carolina. Every time we got a flat by, using the tools that were powering off the truck, we're able to use the impact wrench. We're changing flats, rapidly in the middle of the night, in the middle of a hurricane, you can imagine. It's just remarkable what the truck allows us to do. And then as we get into these communities where they don't have power, we'll plug the truck into wherever we might be staying. A lot of times it might be a church gymnasium or, some sort of a small commercial building, but there's nothing there. So we're able to use our work lights, our job lights out of the vehicle, plug them into the vehicle. We have lighting. We'll plug in fans so that we have a little bit of airflow in there, because it's pretty sweltering hot, coming from that Florida area and on the way up.
Well, that's one of the things.
A coffee maker.
As far as like comfort, right? You're talking about the coffee maker, you're talking about AC. When you are out in the elements for days at a time, weeks at a time, and all day long you're sweating, you're cutting through trees, you're helping people out, you're doing search and rescue, you're clearing debris, and you don't have a rest and you can't let your body just feel some cool air. And it's so fatiguing that without those, what might sound like luxuries, without that, you wouldn't be able to go for weeks on end. And so that comfort that the power and the generator brings to you has got to be relieving for being able to, I'm sure you guys are working 18 hours on and the rest off. Whatever that quick nap is, you wouldn't feel as recharged if you're doing it in the sweltering weather.
Especially not without being able to plug in the electric blender to make the margaritas at the end of the night.
Well, that's at the end of the mission.
The celebration, the high five.
Coffee for the mission, margaritas end of the mission.
See, before back in the day, they had to do the gas powered with the 2-stroke. You ever seen those? Ring, ring.
Well, that's the nice thing is
now we can just plug it right in.
They're so quiet, right? Because it's basically you just have the truck idling when it's recharging. charging. But I was reading some stuff on the Pro Power on the 7.2 kilowatt setup, which is the maximum size, I think. For a smaller one is like half that, like 3 or 3.6, something like that. You can literally run a camp, let's say a camper, lights, AC, things like that for days off of that size. And then I was reading one person online said he powered his camper for, basically they went dry camping and didn't have hookups, but they had Pro Power on board. So he had a full fuel tank and they went out there. He said for 3 days they powered everything they needed from their RV and they went through 5 gallons of gas. So no problem like pulling away at the end because it's so efficient.
I'd imagine, Nick, you're going to find use for the 220 at some point when you have to do some welding. Maybe a gate has fallen, keeping animals in or out, that type of thing. I would imagine that will come in handy.
So I'll tell you where we have used the 220 is we run large mobile command posts. They're a semi-trailer that's been converted into an office. It supports about 12 people. It's lined with a desk and along the walls and all of the stuff to support what you would use for an emergency response command post. And it's full of AC. It's got all of the power, the stuff to run the 12 computers, and it does plug into the 240 there. So that's been a really successful use for us. And one of the best things about using the truck to power our command post is when we use the gas generators, they're so loud that you can hear it through the walls of the trailer, and it's obnoxious. You can barely communicate over it. The truck is nearly silent, no interference on that. So it works out really well in some of the larger applications.
It blows my mind that you could plug in a mobile command post that has communication equipment, monitors, computers, lighting, HVAC,
circular saws.
Well, I mean, they're not cutting anything inside the mobile.
Well, they're building the mobiles. They're building the tents and stuff. Oh, I guess it wouldn't make it out of wood.
Refrigerators, all the things, all that kind of stuff off of your F-150 that's parked just next to the trailer. To me, that's kind of mind blowing.
You're right about how efficient it is. It's got that V6 power boost hybrid engine in it. The truck, running it at highway speeds, I was getting about 22, 23 miles to the gallon on it. And then when we just run it off the generator, like say, for example, the command post, it barely moves the gas needle. It's just incredibly efficient on how well that works. So, and you can imagine out there in these hurricanes, right? So we've got no power, we've got no water. There's also no fuel. The gas stations don't have power to run the fuel, so like fuel is a premium. There's like 2 things in a disaster that are really like critical: fuel and ice. And so if we can run our own refrigerators on those trucks, so we're not competing with the survivors of a disaster for ice. And if we can make it further so that truck has a range of about 550 miles is what it usually shows. That gives us a lot of ability to work out there for a long time and not be competing for resources with all of the other folks who need them much worse than us.
That's actually a really interesting point I hadn't thought about, is the competition of resources. You're going into this area, but of course you guys need resources for your own refueling, for your own food and shelter and all that. And I didn't even think about that. You're going out there rescuing people and helping out, but at the same time, you're still in need of those resources. You're still human beings that have to, eat and shower and drink and do all those things. So that's pretty amazing that you can kind of bring your own ecosystem with you so that you don't impact the ecosystem that you're trying to repair.
We've used a lot of different vehicles in the past, but it's remarkable if you put the technology in the new Ford trucks to use, what you can actually do with it. It's pretty incredible.
How do you balance that when you're going into an area and you don't literally know the condition? You got like 20 miles square to cover. It's the storm has come in, leveled houses, done its damage, and you don't know what to expect. So how do you actually plan for, let's have this much fuel, we're going to go this many miles, what does that plan look like? Because your time is of the essence. So it's not like you can spend 3 days on the computer planning it out. You need to get down there and act, but you can't put yourself in a situation where, again, you're fighting for resources or you're dominating the local resources.
we've done this enough now that we have a pretty preset package, and I've spent my career working in this kind of environment, so I was lucky enough to be able to load the truck that I use with all of the equipment that we normally do. So after my time in the military, I spent a career in the fire service, and primarily use the F-150 as a platform for command vehicles in the fire service. So I've built these for a while now, and this one is a little bit unique because of the support of our partners. So much more effective than the vehicles I built for the fire service, that almost same design, a rollout deck system, all the other stuff, but now with the Pro Power and not having to rely on just the vehicle's 12-volt system, it enhances everything. And then, to your example there, this particular set of storms was really unique. In Florida, we saw, where we started our response, we saw kind of a traditional hurricane with wind and big storm surge from the ocean that came in and inundated the houses. As we followed the storm track up through Georgia and South Carolina, primarily what we ran into was big blowdown, giant trees across all the roads, power lines down. And so there wasn't like a water element to it. It was just trees everywhere. We'll be cutting trees there for the next several months, where we're working up in those, Tennessee, South Carolina, Georgia, all of those are big blowdown areas. And then as we went up to North Carolina, we got into that event where they had the incredible flooding. And so each of those, posed a different set of challenges, but the truck had the right equipment in it to get us through all of that stuff and to start the response for each of those elements. And then as we saw Hurricane Milton come in 10 days after Hurricane Helene, it spawned tornadoes. And there's a whole different element with the tornadoes than we see with a hurricane, with the way that it twists metals and throws screws on the roads and all the other things. Each of those different environments that we saw in this series of storms, the truck worked perfectly in all of those. And so having the right gear in the truck, having a little bit of know-how, being prepared, you kind of know that once you get to within 60 miles of the storm path, that'll be the last gas stations that'll be open for a bit. And so you kind of just get your fuel at that 60-mile point. Our route clearance teams carry enough. They're usually running the, heavy duty diesel trucks. And so they're running big diesel tanks, and they're like pony tanks, so they can refuel and they can stay in the disaster zone longer. But yeah, everybody's kind of set up. They're self-sufficient. They've got, enough MREs and enough water to get them through for 3-4 days. And then they might have to, get out of there for a minute and resupply and then get back in there.
All right, I got a question for you. You brought up MREs. I was lucky enough to go out to Camp Lejeune and join an LAV-25 group while I was down there. A friend of mine was an XO.
A what?
LAV-25.
What does that mean?
It's a vehicle, military,
Okay.
8-wheeled vehicle.
Okay.
So I got to hang out with those guys and spent the weekend with them, did a story for the magazine I worked for at the time, and was basically embedded with them, and had a chance to break bread with Marines. Got a lot of Marine buddies, so Semper Fi and Hoorah for all you guys listening. But it was an amazing experience. I even got to go out in the foxholes on in the trenches on the firing range, and they're firing tracers over us and stuff like that. It was super cool. But one of the things is we had the mess tent, right? And they're like, hey, you can go in there, you can have MREs with us. I'm like, well, I want to have MREs. So they're like, really? So they got a group of like 10 guys, and they're like, hey, go take our guest and like go grab whatever MREs. So I learned back then, and this is probably, 18, 19 years ago, that beef enchilada was like one of the best. Everybody was looking for beef enchilada, right? And then there was some nasty stuff. There's like a tuna one that everybody avoided. And then they all have different candies and juices, so they're all trading, right? Because like, oh, dude, you got Skittles, you got whatever. They told me, they're like, hey, here's the thing about MREs. They make it so you don't poop. And they're like, so don't eat anything normal before you get on the airplane on your way home. And I'm like, okay. They're like, because the MREs
it's all going to hit you.
The MREs are designed to clog you up so that you can get into battle and do all the stuff you got to do and you're not pooping. So I did not heed that advice because, as my friend Lightning here knows, I'm a sucker for Waffle House, which we don't have on the West Coast. And so
recipe for disaster right here.
So I'm at Camp Lejeune, and so on my way back to the airport, the big golden sign was lit up, and it was
Calling your name.
It was like a siren of the highway, and it said, "Come eat here." So I went, no problem. So went to Waffle House. I ate all my normal Waffle House food that I would get. And about, I'd say 15 minutes from taking off from the airport, the gurgles started, and it was super. Well, it sounded like that, just without the music.
Yeah.
But
actually, no. Did you, in your head, were you hearing Code Brown? It's a Code Brown.
yeah, it was not good. So my buddy asked me, he goes, "Hey, how was your flight home?" I go, "Remember how you told me don't eat any normal food before I get on a plane?" He goes, "I know what you did." I'm like, "Yeah, Waffle House." So anytime I think of MREs, I think of beef enchilada, and I think of a very, very hard ride home.
What does MRE stand for? Is it mobile ration?
Meals ready to eat.
Oh, meals ready to eat. That's right. Okay, and they're usually in those like tinfoil packages that are like freeze dried, right? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they come with all sorts of stuff, water, and candy, and it's all protein. It's all designed to like give you energy, and I think they call them low residue meals.
Low residue.
Because you got to eat them. You got to eat a lot and burn those calories and not turn them into waste because you're busy.
Yeah.
You don't have time for that.
I was about to apologize to Nick for having this conversation with him, but I have a feeling he's had this around the campfire one too many times.
Come on, there's no way they haven't. Right. So
Yeah,
Nick,
no, this is a normal conversation around MREs for sure. And obviously, that was a valuable lesson you learned with Waffle House. That was probably the worst choice.
worst choice for
a
sure.
follow-up meal.
So what is the top 3 MREs available in the military these days?
Boy, I don't know in the military, and everybody has different favorites. And we do talk about this, and we were just talking about this last week, where some of the guys are really fond of the ham steak, which some people hate it. It's basically a chunk of Spam.
Ham or steak?
Yeah, it's just a big old chunk of meat product. That one can be popular. A lot of the fellas will they'll steer towards the spaghetti or the pasta dishes, and there's quite a few pasta dishes.
I think there's like a beef
have in the
stroganoff
mixes.
or something like that. That was
There's
pretty
some
popular.
Alfredos, yeah. And then they get some different ones out there nowadays. You can get the vegetarian or the vegan MREs. You have a lot of options nowadays. It goes all over the board.
Yep. Hey, getting back to the Ford F-150s, were they other than the smart cap and the deck system and such like that, and obviously I'm sure you have them rigged with all sorts of communication, were the suspension, wheels, tires, was that all stock? And the reason I ask is I would imagine with roads being washed out, you having to drive on shoulders, four-wheel drive is an issue, and or tire capability. Can you talk us through what you experienced off-roading these things?
Yeah, and so these are stock F-150s, and they come with the regular Pirelli Scorpions on the rims. I did burn through quite a few of those and ended up having to, and like I was saying, I put 6,000 miles on it, and so I had to get it serviced halfway through, and went ahead and put the BFGs on there, and the regular BFGs with the all-terrain tires, with the stock rims and everything. And these are work trucks. I mean, there's nothing, we designed them to be really, basic. These are, vinyl seats, vinyl floors, steel rims, but the truck worked perfectly as designed for us, especially in North Carolina, where so many of the roads were either washed out or the landslides had taken them half off the mountain. It was some pretty rowdy terrain, and we had no problem with the vehicle. I rarely had to put it into four-wheel drive. There was only a couple times where we were in tough spots, but kitted out with all the equipment the way we had it. The grid rack locks down all of your tools in the back, and everything works perfectly on that. Bouncing around out there. Honestly, the biggest hazards are when you're driving at night, because there's no street lights out there, and there's down power lines hanging across the road everywhere. So we do have some aftermarket. The Ford Pro Power has the aftermarket spotlights on the truck, so we're able to see a little bit better at night. But trees are half across roads, power lines are down, you're hitting debris in the road. And the truck, weathered it all perfectly. Like I said, a couple times we had to make some expedient repairs because of hitting something in the road. But I had no complaints. The truck just works great, and I'm I'm a big fan of the F-150 trucks. That's where I run as personal vehicles. And like I said, I built them for a long time for the fire service for command vehicles. So they seem to function really well in that environment.
I'm curious because there's a couple things that you brought up that I thought were pretty interesting. And one is I'm curious if certain protocols have to happen before you decide which disasters or which incidents to deploy on. And then once you get there, you're talking about clearing out the main routes and then arterial routes. I guess, how do you decide, let's say Hurricane Helene's coming, it's coming, you're getting everybody staged and prepped, it goes through, now you guys it's go time, so you hit the ground, get everybody out there. How do you decide where you start from? And then how do you decide once you're there, what are you actually doing? Are you working with local law enforcement and first responders? Is there a plan in place? Do you guys kind of have a predetermined menu of what you would do that they check off, or you're going to do this anyway? I'm just really curious because, as we all know, or we should know, it's a very confusing, chaotic time. There's a lot going on. Those situations are incredibly dynamic, and I'm just curious, how do you decide? Where do you put the resources, and what do you do when you get there?
So as we see the storms coming in, we do start to basically develop a response plan. And the big factors in that response plan is the populations that are living in those areas. And so for us as a humanitarian organization, we look for the most vulnerable populations. And there's a couple different ways to assess that, but primarily we're looking at the National Risk Index and the Social Vulnerability Index for any of those populations. So if it's a town, a community, or just a pocket within a bigger, city, we'll look for the people who don't have the resources to recover, who are more likely to not have insurance, the people who need the help the worst. That's what we're going to focus our efforts on. And then when we start to look at what type of help, we really have some core capabilities that we're really good at. So the first thing we look at is access, and that's that route clearance capability. Because if they can't get in and out, if you can't get emergency vehicles into the houses, if the people can't get from their houses to the drugstore, that's the most vulnerable they can be. So we'll focus on access. Then we'll focus on, salvaging what we can. And so the next priority is going to be tarping the roofs and covering up any breaches in the house. The hurricane blows through, but it's the second rainstorm that comes through after their shingles are gone that soak the house and ruin it. And so we'll try to salvage as much as we can of, somebody's stuff, try to stop further damage. The third thing we do is what we call muck and gut. And this is removing all of the wet and damaged furniture, carpets, components of construction. So if you can imagine, even an inch of water that gets into a house and gets to the drywall, you have to cut that drywall out about at 4 feet just to salvage and stop any mold, any additional damage. And so we'll take all the drywall out and take the house down to the studs, any of the soaked insulation, any of the parts of the building that are ruined or have the chance to get moldy, and stop the damage to the house so that structure has a chance to get repaired. Then after that, we start looking at, the other necessities. Some operations are almost exclusively Sawyer operations. So our team of folks with chainsaws will go out and they'll, fall, buck, limb, chop the trees up, help move that stuff to the curb. And we pair that up with our heavy equipment teams. Usually CTLs are, one of our great partners is Case Equipment, and they support us with a fleet of CTLs that we're able to move around, as well as local dealers who will provide essentially rental vehicles for us to use. And those teams of CTLs and skid steers and our Sawyers are able to make a huge impact really rapidly. And when you get to these events, these are dozens of trees down on every house. And so we're cutting the trees off the house. We're cutting the trees from, around the property so that people have access. Those are some of our focuses, and then it starts to get more diverse from there. And that's really in the response area, because a lot of the work we do is in preparation for an event, say in our wildland mitigation, where we're focusing on the same types of communities who are likely to not have insurance and are going to be susceptible to a wildfire. And we work within the fire mitigation plan for a community, and we'll support a community who might not have the resources to hire a mitigation company to come in. We'll provide all those services, no cost to that community to try to support that. And it hopefully will help, in some cases, hundreds and thousands of people who would be impacted by a fire. So there's a lot of different opportunities we have out there. The final thing that we kind of look at then is in those communities where houses are totally destroyed, we'll come in and consider destroyed, and that might be flooding up to the roof, that might be shifted off its foundation. We'll bring the teams in to do demolition, and you can imagine free demolition for somebody who's trying to get back on their feet, gets them back to a clean slab, or where they can start rebuilding a house that saves tens of thousands of dollars for a homeowner or property owner. And then we do work on some long-term recovery. So we are building some houses, and we've done that since Hurricane Harvey was in Houston. And so we've got hundreds of houses that we've built either around the country or in Puerto Rico, where we've put on hundreds and hundreds of roofs for those. And the houses that we build and any kind of reconstruction we do exceeds code and meets all of the hurricane standards. And again, supported by some of our great partners. GAF is our roofing partner and have some very resilient shingle solutions. So again, applying a lot of the technology to really evaluate where the best places are, what fits them. And one of the things that we say is, when you have a disaster like that go through, people need 103 things. Team Rubicon, we can only bring a few of them, but the few that we bring will be very impactful, and we can do that excellent. So those few things that we do, the mitigation work, the response work, the core operations work, those are the things that we really focus on. We can't do everything, and we can't save everybody after an event, but we try to be as impactful as we can and make sure that the dollars that the donors give us go the furthest.
And there's a gazillion ways to get involved. I noticed the contact us on there. Is that also, have you guys ever had communities reach out and say, hey, listen, we may not be on your radar, but we could use some help? Is that something that happens as well?
Absolutely. We focus on relationships with cities and counties across the country, and that's part of our staffing plan, why we have people distributed around the country. And so they'll work ahead of an event to make sure that we have those connections with local emergency managers. And we like to say that every response starts and ends locally. And so our local volunteers will be engaged in that community. And there might be like service projects. It might be helping to build wheelchair ramps when there's not a storm, or it might be, working in some other. There's 100 things you could do in a community, everything from trail maintenance to supporting veteran causes out there. So we establish those relationships early, but those communities know to call us, especially communities who know the name Team Rubicon and they've worked with us in the past. They'll call us back, they'll welcome us in, and they'll actually provide places for us to stage our base camps. Or allow us into facilities that can house our volunteers while we're there. So the community partners have been great for us. And we work at not just the local community level, but the county, the state level. And we are tied in with FEMA. And so we do have some of our members who sit in the National Response Center up in DC when a big event like this happens. So FEMA also knows what we're doing, as well as FEMA tries to track a lot of the volunteer groups, because these events are too big for any entity to respond to. So without the whole of the response community and the volunteer community, it's not realistic for a place to, get back to normal, let's say.
On the site, Nick, you've got volunteer with us. Step into the arena as a gray shirt. What does that signify, the gray shirt?
like the t-shirts that we wear are Team Rubicon t-shirts. And there's a bunch of history and kind of some stories that go along with this. This is part of the military ethos. So everything that we have has a story behind it. But essentially, early on in the organization, when the team was deploying, they decided they needed matching shirts, and the only color available was gray that fit everybody. And so they picked up these gray shirts. Eventually, those gray shirts got branded, and that's now the official uniform of Team Rubicon.
Gotcha.
We all are wearing a gray shirt with our Team Rubicon symbol on it. And you'll see uniquely, if you look at any of those pictures, a white bar across the front of the shirt where our volunteers write their name, because people are coming and going in these events pretty rapidly, and there's a safety factor to that, being able to yell at, hey Devin, hey Nick, because you can see the name on their shirt, watch out. That makes a big difference. And one thing to point out is, like, an example right now, in response to Helene and Milton, we have 10 operations up and down the storm track, and there's about 330 volunteers out there today that are working. Those volunteers come in for 7 days at a time, and they rotate out. 7 days is a pretty long stint of that type of manual labor in those types of conditions, sleeping on cots, eating, MREs or donated food, then doing a hard day's work. And so we're cycling these volunteers through at a rapid pace. And so having that uniform and having that identification is part of the way that we're able to be successful with that.
Nick, I have a question that this is me personally, Lightning. Can you give any advice to people like me that want to help, but don't know how to, and this sounds...
Don't have military experience?
No,
No,
this is more practical.
Okay.
You got a job, and maybe you're busy at work, whether you sit behind a desk or you're a welder, whatever it is, but you have a job that's 9 to 5 and you're expected to take off. You got 2 weeks a year, 3 weeks a year of vacation, and you're maxed out because you took the kids to Disneyland and you did something with your wife, whatever, but you want to help. What advice do you have for being part of Team Rubicon, and how do you get out of work? Some companies will allow you to go volunteer. There's some other ones don't. Do you have any advice? Have you talked to people who have navigated this? Because many times, Team Rubicon is a higher purpose, right? You're helping people. You're not just hitting keys on a keyboard. You're out in the field potentially saving lives, changing
You're doing
lives.
manual labor. I mean, you're doing backbreaking hard.
But whatever you're doing, you're bettering someone's life, right?
While hopefully bettering your own.
But I'm trying, it is bettering your own. But the day-to-day, how do you get out of work?
So what you're saying is Lightning feels guilty because he lives such a glamorous lifestyle.
No,
and
that's not what I'm saying.
He has no more vacation days left because he went to Italy to the Lamborghini Museum with his kid.
That I am saying. I am saying that.
And he wants to feel purpose in his life, and now all of a sudden Team Rubicon is resonating within his soul.
I think you're psychoanalyzing me, and it's uncomfortable. But sure, go with that then. I'm sure there are other people kind of in my boat.
No, you're absolutely right, Lightning. It's a great question, and I can talk about it in general and for Team Rubicon. So first, I'll start with the Team Rubicon. And, when we look at that 170,000 volunteers that are spread across the country, a lot of that might be considered the reserve army. It's just standing by. And maybe you don't get that chance to volunteer and deploy across the country to an event because of your work schedule, your family schedule. But when that event hits your community, and you're plugged in with Team Rubicon, and the job isn't there for the week because there is no power, then you still have that ability to help with that organization. And just being part of the organization is the first step. Then there's the next part is, all of this stuff that's happening out there in the field takes a bunch of remote support. It takes people on computers that are, mobilizing folks. They're purchasing the flights for them. They're getting the information to them. They're emailing them, working with all the volunteers who are going. There's remote folks that are working on the paperwork, the administrative part of the process. And then there's other folks that are working on the finances and tracking the money, making sure that everything is tracked and spent on the right things, that we're being frugal. There are a whole bunch of remote functions in the organization. So right now there's people in California supporting what's happening in, Florida, North Carolina, across that whole storm path. And it might be just on the nights or weekends. Maybe they've put 2 hours in at night working through like screening the requests for assistance that come in. There's thousands of requests for assistance. Somebody has to evaluate those, see if it's the right fit for Team Rubicon. And maybe they spend an hour or two at night doing that, and that's how they're helping. So those are all parts of it. And then the other one is, some people, maybe the easiest way for them to help is to donate. And that trusa.org, the link is right there. They, receive donations. It might be as small as, a few dollars all the way up to some of those big donors from corporate organizations that have that ability to support. We get support in other ways. A lot of the partners that you see listed, they're providing the equipment, the saws, the trucks, the tools that we need. Things like Home Depot, who's such a great partner with us, that they're doing all of those types of support. And the other thing is, for the companies that people work, those companies a lot of times offer that volunteer opportunity with Team Rubicon. So at any given time out in the field, we might have dozens of folks from Home Depot or the Team Depot Foundation out there. We might have people from Ford employees who come out. And so the dealership might bring out their staff for a weekend. So working on what your company's volunteer policy is and how that company, because most big companies, they want to help, and especially want to help in their community. And if we provide those opportunities for them, we'll bring them out. And, maybe they're wearing a gray shirt, maybe they're wearing a blue shirt or an orange shirt, who knows? But we'll provide the opportunity for them to help and make sure that there's somebody out there who's trained, that understands what the task is, can keep them safe, and can put them to work. So those are really the ways. There's a lot of ways that you can join, not just Team Rubicon, but a lot of volunteer organizations, and they all need different types of support. Maybe it's maybe you're just in garrison till the time comes, but maybe you can find a way to stab in, and it might be an hour, a day, or maybe it's a week. And then in my situation, where it started out being just some volunteer stuff here and there, eventually it turned into I committed my whole life to the organization. So now it's my job.
Dude, that's amazing. We are happy to know you, happy to have you on the Truck Show podcast. I know we have got listeners who are listening to this going, wow, this is one of those interviews I wasn't expecting. And so if Team Rubicon has the stories resonate with you, you want to help, head over to their website, teamrubiconusa.org, or they're all over all the socials. So whether it's Facebook, or if it's X, or if it's Instagram, those are all Team Rubicon. YouTube is Team Rubicon USA. LinkedIn is Team Rubicon, and Vimeo is Team Rubicon as well.
Google is your friend here. They're everywhere.
But there's ways to donate, ways to volunteer, ways to be involved, and ways to support Nick and Team Rubicon. And you guys are doing awesome. I know this started with a conversation about trucks and how trucks make your job easier, but it's awesome for us to be able to kind of give a little bit of the backstory of what you guys are doing, especially right now, since there have been so many kind of disaster incidents within the last just couple months.
I appreciate you guys giving us a platform to tell our story. We're pretty proud of it. Team Rubicon is an awesome organization, and so hopefully people do look at the website. And if you're looking for a chance to help, we can put you out there to help in it, and we can make it kind of cool. It's pretty exciting work that we get to do, and there's a spot for anybody or for everybody.
Even Lightning.
So, yeah, feel free. I was going to say, Lightning, we're ready for you. Come on out. And,
they're going to turn you into a man.
I know, right? I'm all about it, dude. I'll rock a chainsaw.
Yeah, but let's look. You don't have any money. You don't have any time. And you don't have any more days off.
Yeah,
so you're kind of useless.
It's a little bit of a problem, yeah.
All right, well, we'll figure out how to get Lightning involved with you guys when his PTO resets in 2025.
We'll look forward to it. You guys just let us know.
All right.
We'll be ready for you out there, and we'll have some like-minded folks out there for you, Lightning.
In the meantime, we'll consider our contribution this episode. How about that?
No,
that's
weak.
You can go through the rest of the years saying that you did something.
We're not sweating right now. We need to put in some actual.
Well, the AC's not on.
Some elbow grease. Yeah. All right, Nick, you're doing phenomenal work. Thank you so much, and we appreciate you carving out some time for us.
I appreciate you guys listening to us for a little bit, and one more shout out to Ford for their incredible support. The vehicles make it possible, and we're putting them to work out there for sure. So
we're happy that they make such a great product that can make your job in the field easier for sure. So I appreciate my friends at Ford who got us together, and hopefully this isn't the last time that we have a conversation with you.
Look forward to it.
All right. Thanks, Nick. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Hey, take care, guys. Yeah, thanks again.
You got it. Bye. How you feeling about some emails, son?
Let's do it.
All right.
You email? Yeah. I email? Do it. We email? That's right. Everybody email. Type it up. You email? Proofread. I email? Send it. We email? Click it. Everybody email.
Who goes first? Me or you?
Go ahead.
Yeah, you went first last time. All right, I'm going to kick it off with an email from Mike Boyle. Subject line is oil question. Let's see what he says here. So, hey, Lightning and Holman. Mike Boyle here. I have a random oil question. I was hoping you could run this by one of your experts at AMSOIL. A couple of years ago, I inherited my dad's 94 F-250 with a 7.5 gasser. It's the second vehicle that only gets driven about 1,500 to 2,000 miles a year. This means it sits a lot. Yet when it does get used, it gets used hard, typically towing or hauling. Truck's got 185,000 miles on it, and my father always ran 20 W50 oil in it. So I'm wanting to switch over to something like AMSOIL high mileage, but my question is, do I continue to run the higher weight oil since that's what it's used to, or will I be fine running 5W30? Thanks for everything you guys do and bringing us the greatest truck podcast in existence. 5-star, yeah, buddy, and everything matters. P.S. Sean, can you please help me convince Jay and Gail to do another run of 7.5 Power Pack kits? I was really disappointed to learn that they were discontinued right after I took possession of my truck. It really needs some help.
Yeah, that's one of those ones that I was actually surprised they discontinued, and I was kind of bummed out about it. And maybe in this next segment, I'll have some firepower to help you revitalize it.
It's not going to happen. No. It's just not. I mean, we just moved too few of them. I mean, we still sell it out, but I think anything that we sell like fewer than 100 a year, we have to really look carefully at because, man, the stuff's so expensive to make, small quantities. So he also...
That would be a no.
Yeah, it's a no. So I'm going to give you some 5-star.
5-star review! 5 stars! Yeah, buddy!
Thanks for watching, and remember, everything matters.
So we've now got 2 questions for our friends at AMSOIL. I think we get either Mark or one of the cats over there to help us out because we have the ATF question that we've been sitting on
right here,
and high mileage.
Yep.
And I never got the actual answer about the European car formula. Did we?
Yeah, we did.
Oh, we did get it?
Yeah, because the metals are different between the 2 engines, between European and American engines. We got that while sitting around a conference table at AMSOIL.
He gave us, but he was saying it was the...
So what you're saying is the answer you got, you're not satisfied with.
I'm not, because that was kind of I didn't think it was emissions related, which at AMSOIL they told us when we were sitting around the conference table. He indicated it was emissions related. Original answer that I got that I can't remember what it was, but it had something more to do with the coking of the engine.
Nobody says coking anymore.
No? They don't?
Unless you're like an old-timey chimney sweep.
Well, we'll get to the bottom of it. We'll get it answered once and for all.
All right. Well, I just wanted to let you know that we actually do follow up. And a while back, our buddy Ray had written asking about engine braking on the Cybertruck. He said, hey, what happens if the EV battery's full? And was kind of curious. So I actually wasn't able to contact anybody at Tesla, but I reached out to my contact at Ford. And I said, hey, quick question. When you've got the Lightning and you've got a full battery and you go to regen, what happens? And they said they just default to the service brakes. So once the batteries are full, the batteries are full. So there you go. That's the official answer.
You heat up your brakes
from a car company.
Now you got a regular car. Yeah,
Yep.
Regular brakes. Yep. This is from Mike. Hey, Lightning, is there still... Oh, geez. I didn't realize I was about to say this on the air. Oh, whatever. Is there still a Banks discount code for the Truck Show Podcast fans? And yes, there is. You have to either email me, lightning@truckshowpodcast.com, or DM me at LBC Lightning, and I will hook a brother up. This guy actually is looking for... I think Mike's looking for it's an iDash and a Stealth Pod for his 2020 Toyota Tundra. Mike, I got you. I will reply to your email and hook you up with the something.
No, he should have to email you back by listening to the show. Don't make it easy for him. That's way too easy. You're just going to reply to his email?
But he already emailed me.
Nah, he's got to
email
email
me
you for
twice?
directions. Yes. Make him really want it.
No, that's not cool. Already reached out to me, lightning@truckshowpodcast.com if you want the hookup.
Trevor writes to us. He says, I haven't listened much lately, so I'm just catching back up and therefore hitting you with my brain dumps. Lightning did a fantastic job with Gary Bell interview. That was really enjoyable to listen to, the guests being in studio, so the quality was great. There wasn't an abundance of talking over each other and the guests, and it helps that I do like me some audio. Where possible, having the guests in studio would certainly be preferred from a listener standpoint. Suckage was low. We every time, that's actually when we do our intake form, we always ask people if they'd like to be in studio. That's our preference as well. Also, more big props to Lightning. Big props to Lightning getting the whole story out about Sublime. That was also very low suckage. It's like I came back to a whole new podcast. What's going on? Trevor.
Lower the suckage!
I was trying.
Hold on. He has a follow-up email. He says, after skipping something like 5 minutes of bickering on opinion of whether the Rivian and Scout look alike, I take back what I said earlier. That was about as intriguing as listening to arguments about why Holman likes chocolate, but Lightning likes vanilla. It's actually the other way around. I'm not a chocolate fan.
I love chocolate. If you guys want Lightning to try any weird foreign chocolate, except dark chocolate. If I don't like dark chocolate, don't bother sending that. But if you think like you have the best milk chocolate in your area, send it to your boy over here. Yeah,
come on.
You can hear it sucking.
I can hear you sucking.
I know, that's what I'm saying. This one's from Jeffrey Brown. Hey, Jay. With Sean being the new president of the MDHCA, please do a new Desert Explorer jingle, but with Billy voicing it.
That's funny. It wouldn't be as good, though.
No, it wouldn't.
Yeah, so...
Do you want to do another one? Do you want to do it right here with you on it?
I don't want to do that right now.
No. I'm going to do one.
It has to be organic. Billy was organic.
Yeah, it was.
That just kind of happened because it was funny.
Billy Creech, Desert Explorer. Hey ho! Teach us what you know. Go ahead, Billy. We're waiting.
All right. All right. So here's the thing. I would do that if 100 of you become members of the MDHCA. MDHCA.org. It's an awful website at the moment. We're in the process of redoing
every
it.
Show now.
The listener brought it up, not me. We're in the process of redoing it. By the end of the year, we should have a nice, easy website. But you can go. Actually, the MojaveRoad.org is probably the easiest way to get there. Anyway, would love to see my members either donate or become a member and help our little museum in the desert out. I would really appreciate that. Okay. All right, I've got this one here from Zach Summers, Lightning Intervention.
Oh, no.
Longtime listener, first-time emailer. Just listened to Season 2, Episode 136 with Mike Spagnola. And all I have to say is, while Lightning's long and drawn-out story about Sublime was interesting, I think he needs to learn the phrase, time and place. You started out the interview with saying you had a lot to cover with Mike and a short amount of time to do so, yet you go way, way, way out of your way in left field about the history of a band. Sometimes silence can be bliss, Lightning. Just my opinion. Not that it means much. Oh, it means something to a lot of people there, Zach. Keep up the great work. 5 stars in Mounter Parometers. Thanks, Zach Summers from Missouri.
That's funny. I don't recall asking for a really boring story. My God. Don't you understand? No one cares.
Yeah. Before you play the 5 stars in Mounter Parometers for him, I will say, while I listened to it, it was very long in person, although I do appreciate some of the band stuff. And then while listening to the edit, I thought, that's pretty long. I wonder how listeners will feel about it.
I'm the one that edited, and I debated pulling all of it out. I thought,
And I thought, that's kind of long. And then I thought to myself, sometimes you just got to let Lightning get it out. So I went with it. We let it happen. We let it fly.
You didn't have to.
And we're 1-to-1. So
you could have called me and
truckshowpodcast@gmail.com.
Could have texted or called me and said, I think it's too long, cut it.
Do you like Lightning's side projects on the show where he goes off on a tangent?
I don't really think that's a side project. It was just kind of like, I thought it was interesting at the time. I know. So here's what you guys don't know.
Oh, boy.
No. You may not know.
It's a really, really long story coming up?
No, it's very short.
Okay, great.
Mike Spagnola, president of SEMA, is a huge music fan. radio fan, music fan.
I think we know
So,
that.
No, they don't.
That's why he has SEMA bands at SEMA.
You're
Fest.
assuming they know all the back.
They do from us. We've brought them the story.
I don't think that we've said that Mike is a huge music fan. That's it. That's my whole story. Stop it. So I was telling that story for you and him.
Thank you. Thank you. Are you done? Can we get on to something interesting?
Sure. What you got?
How about we go into researching used trucks?
Is this a stretch to call this next segment a you review?
Well, I'm going to review the used trucks I found out. I'm going to put them up on the podcast TV here because I'm disappointed in what I found, and then I'm also blown away by what I found. I'll share that with you.
A little bit of a stretch for this jingle,
Just
but
play
I think
It's
it works. Yeah.
It's fine.
Tell us all about your truck. Is it great or does it suck? Before I buy, I need a clue. Don't pull punches, you review.
Is it funny to you guys that the dude that made that jingle is like an accomplished, like
Producer? Yeah. Like big time.
And I asked him, I go, Alan,
Like he has gold records.
legit.
Platinum.
I go,
yeah, Higgins.
Alan, can you make me a really silly jingle? Your reviews, I love it. I'm all over it, and that's what popped out.
And
I'm like,
it's one of my favorite ones
like
still.
this guy, legit.
All right, let me walk you through. So I told you guys that at some point in the next couple years, I'm going to need to get a pickup truck, like a legit like work truck. I'm starting to look at it now. It's kind of like when you know you're going to buy a house in a couple years, but you got to see like what's out there at what price point and where you can live. And you start soaking all that in.
Where's the market going with it?
Yeah, but inevitably you find the perfect house right in the middle of your initial search, and you're not ready to pull the trigger. And of course, what do you think has happened this week? I found what I think is nearly the perfect truck, but we can discuss. But I also found some.
And you don't have the money right now to buy it.
I found some really piles of shit. So I have scoured Auto Trader, Edmunds, Car Gurus, and even Bring a Trailer to bring you these fine examples, Lightning. So,
Well, before you do, this is a great question for you. Having now spent so much time on all these platforms, what is your preferred app? Because I am a Car Gurus fan, but not exclusively. How about you? What do you say?
I do like Car Gurus, and I like Edmunds. Auto Trader, I think you have to do individual searches, where I think on Car Gurus and Edmunds, you can say like F250 and F350. Otherwise, you have to break it out, F2 or F350 on Auto Trader. But I used them all. I've even used Facebook Marketplace, which looks like everybody selling meth is selling a car.
Right.
It is like, I can't imagine I would buy
And there's
some.
so many fake listings on
It's
there, too.
horrible.
It's
awful.
It's brutal.
So I'd like to turn your attention to...
Did you do any of the auction sites?
No.
Okay.
All right. I'd like to... Well, let me set the stage first. Here's what I want. I want a Super Duty, F250 or F350. I want a long bed, regular cab, 4x4. If it's a 13, 14, 15 newer to about 17, which is the first year of the Illuma duties, I want to have aux switches, a trailer brake controller, and a rear locker. If it's an hold on, just stop. No, you can't interrupt yet.
Okay.
If it's earlier, I want a split bench with cloth, not vinyl, because the vinyl gets roached. And I want cab lights on top of any of these. And, of course, 4x4. That's what I want. And AC, of course. Okay, so that sets the stage for what I'm looking for.
When you started looking, you were talking about late 90s and early 2000s
And
trucks. Now you're willing to go up to a 17?
Just hold on. Just let me walk you through what I've learned, because this is really incredible. You think you're going to start out and find a $5,000 Super Duty. You aren't. No, not even a $10,000 Super Duty.
Not even a one that's been on fire.
I'd love to find a $15,000 Super Duty. Yeah, F you. If you want a decently nice, low-mileage Super Duty that hasn't been absolutely roached, you're about mid-20s all day long. It is insane. But then there's some outliers that are even more insane. I'm going to walk you through it.
Okay.
So this is the cheapest one I could find right now. It's $89.95. It's a 2002 F350, but the problem is it's 5.4, and I refuse to get a 5.4.
Yeah.
I won't do it, especially on an F350. Now, this is basically the same body style as a 7.3 truck, so it's leaf spring. It's super early. And the problem with regular cab Super Duties isn't the mileage. You can find low mileage all the time.
Yeah.
It's that they almost all have the snowplow package on it.
Yeah, and look at how
it's horrible.
rusted. Dude, even the fenders are rusted on that one.
Oh, this one you can see through it. $89.95. Okay.
Tow hooks are rusted.
Oh, dude, the whole thing. So I've learned, but how many miles do you think is on this truck? It's green. It's got rust through the fenders. It has rusty tow hooks, rusty snowplow prep package.
I'm going to say, because you're asking, I think low, 65,000.
10,000 miles.
Oh, my, no way.
So I get a 10,000-mile Super Duty for $89.95.
But that's
and
because
have to put $10,000 back into it.
I'm saying you got to have to gusset the frame because it's probably falling apart.
It's funny.
So much rust.
So the pre-13s, the interiors hold up pretty good except for the vinyl seats, which is pretty surprising. After that, they go into, like, the steering wheels are roached and fall apart. So there's certain things. I can tell within now 1 minute of seeing a picture if I want to even click on the rest of the photos. Yeah. Look for the rust on the tow hooks. Look whether it has a snowplow prep package or not. And look if I can see any visible rust on the outside. That tells me everything I need to know if I want to move on or not. And then on the inside, it's how tore is the driver's seat? Did Bubba slide in and out of that sucker and rip it to shreds on the outside bolster all the time? Vinyl ones are really bad. And how roached is the steering wheel? Mm-hmm. And if it was personal use, it's amazing. There's only two kinds of Super Duties. It's I was a snowplow truck and I'm roached, or I was the dude who owns the company's truck and there's plastic on the floor. And the difference between those two trucks is like $15,000.
Now, are you seeing any dashboards cracked from the sun?
Not too many.
Okay.
All the Super Duties, but I'm also looking under.
Or is that a GM thing?
I'm looking under 60,000 miles.
Oh,
so I'm not. I don't want anything more than that.
Got it.
Preferably lower.
Now, I see this one is in Alliance, Ohio.
Yes. And Roach.
I feel like you should be looking in Arizona, Texas,
no,
California.
They don't exist. They're all crew cabs out here. Almost there's such a small percentage of regular cab trucks in the Southwest. It's in my search. I had to move it to nationwide in order just to find some of the stuff that I found.
Interesting.
Everything that is interesting is Midwest or in Maine, which could be a good road trip.
That'd be fun, but Maine, again,
far away.
What's the rust issues up there? Do they salt the roads? It's all about salt, right?
Well, it depends on the truck. Okay, so check this one out here. All right.
Holman search for an F-250/350.
All right, so I'm gonna go through this one here. Is unbelievable. I think I sent you this one. This is
I've seen that one. That one looks new, like someone wrapped it in plastic this whole time.
2015 F-350 XLT, which the XLT value package. The XLT package comes with a chrome grille. That of that era is the best you can get in a regular cab, but you could option it with a bunch of stuff that you can get on Lariat.
I see twin exhaust, which means that's a Power Stroke.
Okay, so this is the first generation 6.7 Power Stroke. 3,600 miles. Yeah. Lightning, what's the price on this beautiful ruby red Ford with the beige interior?
That is $37,999. $38,000 for this thing?
Yeah. $38,000 for a 10-year-old truck. Okay, look at the dash of this vehicle, and the thing about it is I can see immediately it has the locker right here where you pull the knob.
Sure.
It also has trailer brake controller, so those are ding-ding, but it's missing the aux switches.
Sure is.
So, bummer. It's just got a coin tray there. So it's like so close.
Oh, it's got a CD player.
Yeah, I don't know if I would do a 6.7 though. Like, am I going to pay the premium for the diesel? I just don't think I would.
What year is it again?
2016. I think I got to pass, right? I think I got to pass.
Yeah.
I mean, DPF is still on there.
Yeah. 2016 is these are the worst years for all the SCR trucks and DPF trucks are going to be your 11 through 16s. 17s, they start getting a little better, and then 20s, they get even much better as far as reliability.
Now, how about this?
Yeah.
1991 F-250 XLT Lariat 4-wheel drive standard cab. So this is a twin traction beam leaf truck. And this has the 7.5, which is why I was saying to Mike Boyle's email, I would love to get a 7.5 OBS Ford. That would be really freaking awesome. 11,689 miles.
What?
11,000 miles. Look at the interior.
It just sat in someone's barn.
So
or
look
something.
at the interior on this thing. It's got a few blemishes and stuff. But
click on that.
Check this out.
Yeah, that's clean.
Right?
Yeah.
But it's $20,000 for a 91.
That's what these things are going for, dude.
How do you feel about that, though? Dual fuel tanks?
Unfortunately, 20 is the right price for this thing.
You think so?
Yeah, OBSs are so
if I drove up in that truck, with a 12,000-mile OBS, what would you say?
Can I go for a ride?
Damn right you
Yes.
would. I don't know, 20 grand for a truck that's from 1991?
That's tough. Ooh. It's really tough. That sucks.
I
for
know.
us.
Okay. Let me show you this one. I'm hiding the price from you on purpose.
Okay.
This is I believe.
Hold on a second. 8,300 miles. No way.
Yeah. So
what year is this?
So this is a 7.3 diesel
Okay.
F350 2000 or 2001. So this is a regular cab, long bed with the chrome wheels.
Yeah. I see. It's got like
beautiful.
a snug top or something.
Yeah,
as well.
it's got like a Lear camper on the back.
Okay. But how does it
great
only have 8,300 miles?
So this whoever took and loved this truck didn't put that many miles on it. Look, it's got Bilstein 5100s on it.
Does it have a lift kit? It's a little higher.
I don't think so. I
No,
think
it
it's
doesn't
just,
have like blocks or something.
No,
under? Yeah, it's got to.
No, it's just 5100s with a bigger tire and the wheel well.
Okay.
Again, 7.3 truck.
Yeah.
What? Wait, hold on. Let me show you the interior.
7.3s
Look at
really in demand.
Hold on, look at the bed.
Oh my! That's a repaint.
Okay.
That's perfect.
Okay, here's the
This truck
interior.
has been restored.
Hold on. What do you see?
I'm not sure what.
7.3 manual.
It's a manual. Whoa!
All right,
What?
8,300 miles. 7.3 V8 turbo diesel, 6-speed, or I guess it's a 5-speed manual.
Yeah.
What do you think this truck goes for? Oh, dude, this is the unicorn, right?
Yes.
Is this the unicorn? Look at how beautiful that dash is.
Look at the undercarriage. Jordan Motorsports.
Dude, look
in
at
the
that.
503 area code. It is.
Look at that.
Well, you know what they did? They what is it? The ice washing that's so rad now? Everyone's doing.
Oh,
it.
yeah,
the
the CO2 or whatever.
Yeah, super like dry ice or whatever.
Dry,
they use.
yeah.
It is. That's super duper clean. All right. Well, based on where it is.
Okay, by the way, this does not have trailer tow mirrors on it. And it has some funky handle. That's the only thing I don't like. It's got some funky grab handle next to the door to help you get in. So that's kind of dumb. But I want you to guess the price on this truck.
There's no way that this truck in this condition is under 27.
Okay,
There's no way it's under 27.
Is that your guess?
Yeah, that's my guess.
Okay. Lightning says 27,000. It is missing the cab lights. Has everything else. Let me. The price is. Lightning.
No! Stop! That's.
That ain't true. That's not true.
That's
right.
That's insane. Hold on, ladies and gentlemen. Dead silence.
Wait, let's go through it again.
2001 Ford F-250 Super Duty XLT four-wheel drive long bed based in Portland, Oregon. It has 8,300 miles on this specimen. It's an absolutely
7.3.
It's a 7.3.
Stick.
You can stick.
7.3 stick.
You can lick the engine. It is that
It
clean.
looks like it just rolled off the factory. It looks like a showroom fresh. Lightning, what's the price?
$74,997.
I saw this truck. I go, I would buy that truck today. And I went, oh, no, I will not.
70
For a 2001.
$5,000.
Yeah. And I love that truck. It's white, not my favorite color, but I love everything else about it. Even has the fog lights.
$75,000.
It doesn't compute, does it?
For a 2001
Yeah.
7.3.
Yeah. All right, I want you to look at this beautiful ruby red 2015 Lightning.
Yeah. I'm looking.
2015 F350 XLT.
Wow, 10,100 miles.
Beautiful condition.
What did you put in, max of 20,000 miles? Why are you looking for these barn finds?
Because I don't want to get rid of it. Like I'm going to buy it once, and it's going to be that's going to be the truck.
Okay, so this is again a 10,000 mile truck, ruby red.
The problem is
6.2.
the interior is gorgeous.
Yep,
Even the wheel's not roached.
it's flawless.
Although trailer brake controller locker, no aux switch.
aux
But that's
switches,
I can
yeah.
live with that. Because I can add whatever S-Pod or something. Look at the
manual
fabric.
seats, yep.
The fabric is perfect on it, but it has a snowplow kit on it. And it has some wires on the inside. And I want you to see, what engine is that, Lightning? That's right, Lightning. It's the 6.2 liter V8.
6.2 V8, yeah.
What do you think this I just showed you.
I didn't
see
see it.
All right. What do you think this one's priced at? 10,000 miles, 2015
Here's the problem.
F350.
Again, anything I think like under like 40,000 miles, it sends the price up.
Okay, that it does. But like, where are you at?
I think this is
10-year-old truck. Gas, not diesel.
29 to 32 range. Oh, come on. $39,999 for a 40 grand for a 2015
Yeah.
F350.
Yeah.
With a 6.2 gas.
Yeah. I
Was
thought
it
for
6.8?
sure this one was going to be a diesel.
What is wrong with you people?
2001, one owner, F350 Super Duty XLT. This truck's on Bring a Trailer right now. This truck has all of, I think it's 2,000 miles.
Oh, my Lord.
So it's brand new. Apparently the guy who owned it bought it.
Factory weld wheels, too.
Factory everything.
Yep.
The guy bought it, and the guy went, oh, F350 rides too rough. I'll park this and go get an F250.
Wait a minute. I'll park it.
So it's been parked since he bought it. He drives it every once in a while. This truck with 2,000 miles, it's basically brand new. And right now on Bring a Trailer, it's the equivalent of that white one for $75. Right now on Bring a Trailer,
Okay.
it was at $12 this morning.
It's at $20,000 right now with only 8 bids. Ends in 5 days. So this truck with...
And it's a V10.
Again, V10, again, with how many miles?
I think this one's 2,000.
2,000 miles?
2,200.
This truck is probably going to fetch somewhere in the...
50. It's not a diesel, but it is a V10,
Yeah.
which is rare.
Yeah, you're right. It's probably going to be in the 50s.
So I'm going to keep my eye on this one because this one is beautiful. It's red with the tan interior, and it's got the 8-hole wheels. And it was a 2001, so first year of the Super Duty. This one will probably shoot spark plugs through the hood, but it hasn't yet because it only has 2,200 miles. I'm really curious. And this one's no reserve. I was serious like, dude, this truck, pretty badass.
But oftentimes those no reserve trucks, people get like frantic at the end
Yeah.
and just jack them, you know.
I don't
and
know,
so,
man. So what do you think?
What would you bid?
So here's what I've narrowed myself after seeing what the market's like. I'm like, there's no way I can really afford a diesel. Whether it's a unicorn or not, if I want under 50,000 miles, it's a $25,000 truck, which is fine. Like, okay, like we'll put some money aside, and that's not necessarily a deal breaker. It's more than I thought I would spend. So I think it's got to be a 6.2 gas because I don't want a 5.4. I would do a 6.8 V10, but then if it's got low miles, you're getting into older body style that people like for their simplicity. So I'm really kind of in like that 2013 to 15 range, 6.2, 4x4 XLT.
Unless
It's
you
gonna
do
be
that
25.
OBS. You could do that OBS.
The 91?
Yep.
Then are you defeating the purpose of getting, like, that doesn't have as much towing and hauling?
That's
and,
correct. It's just the cool factor.
Although it's a 7.5, so that's
Yeah.
cool. And there's no Banks parts for
Not
it.
really. No. It's pretty gutless. But
Anyway.
man, I don't know. You're in
force
a,
without- but I-
you're in a, that's a sticky spot.
Yeah, I don't want a 5.4.
No, you don't.
And I don't want a 6.0 or a 6.4.
Nope. You need the.
I do a 6.7 or 7.3.
7.3, 6.8, 6.7,
6.2.
6.2.
So Holman's out of luck right now.
I've
been scouring.
no matter
I've-
what, you gotta get 28 grand and just say that's as much as I'm going to spend.
And when I find something that's
Buy
low
it.
mileage, I just have to go get it.
You
And
just
then
do
we're
it.
going to have to road trip it home.
Correct. Yeah, if you guys, you've got thoughts, let us know. Truckshowpodcast at gmail.com.
Or if you want to donate to my GoFundMe for the $74,000 2001, that's beautiful.
Holman at truckshowpodcast.com.
The Truck Show, the Truck Show, the Truck Show.
It's funny that you sound depressed now.
I am because I spent a lot of time on this. And
You thought that you would be able to afford something.
yeah.
And
I
you
went,
realize
oh.
you've been priced out of the market.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm like, oh, well, that's not good. Because I want something that can tow my Jeep if I wanted to, or my projects around. I want something that can move stuff at the ranch. I want a Home Depot truck when my wife says we need to go get the 8-foot skeleton from Halloween and we need to take it home.
See, the thing is, I think the magic is in the old 7.3 or like you said, the OBS. But like, you're going to find that those are gutless, especially when you're pulling a Jeep.
I know.
That's where you have to step into the modern
more modern
amenities like the
6.2, yeah.
6.2 and 6.7.
Well, and the 6.2 trucks have the aux switches, have the integrated trailer brake controller, have the rear locker already. It kind of has everything that you'd want to do to it, except for maybe, CarPlay on the radio.
Yeah.
And those are doubled in, so really easy to get a new head unit. And the head unit's not tied into the whole truck, so you replace the head unit, boom, you're good to go.
That's true. Well, what's your timeline for this?
I mean, it's like a couple years.
You say that, but you're obsessing over it now.
Which means it's really going to be in like
Yes.
12 months.
No, which means it's going to be like December 15th.
No. I got to pay off a couple things first.
You're not afraid of debt, my friend. I know you.
No, that's not true. Until I started this stupid business, I was almost debt free, except for my house payment and my car payment.
Yeah,
that didn't work out.
You
so
guys,
well.
listen. The backside of water, as Holman likes to say, is that once he becomes obsessed with a vehicle, he's gonna figure out a way to get it. He's gonna sell a testy or something like that.
I got 2 left.
I'm saying what I'm saying.
All right, if you guys want to interact with us, you can follow us on the socials at LBC Lightning, at Sean P. Holman, at Truck Show Podcast.
Hey, no. Meet us in person if you're at SEMA.
Do that, or email us, truckshowpodcast@gmail.com, lightning@truckshowpodcast.com, or Holman at truckshowpodcast.com. And, of course, we want to hear from you. So if you have any thoughts on this truck mission that I'm on right now, please call us on the 5-star hotline, 657-205-6105. I want to hear from you guys. I know you guys have been in this situation where you're like, I want to buy a truck. The new ones aren't doing it. I don't want over-the-air updates. I don't want all this emission stuff. So I'm going to get a nice used truck. And then you went, holy crap, the used trucks are almost as expensive as the new truck. What do you guys think? I've asked you this before, but I want to know. Like, am I thinking right? $25,000 for a 6.2 truck? That's going to probably last forever. I don't have all the diesel headaches. Even though I really want a 7.3, probably not going to happen. You guys help me out
Not at
here.
$75,000.
Well, that definitely ain't going to happen. Yeah. I do a lot.
And if you guys do have some money you're willing to spend on a truck, head on over to your local Nissan dealer because the Frontier is absolutely amazing and checks all of the boxes. Or if you're lazy and you want to go online and check out the trucks, nissanusa.com.
And if you're looking for a new Ram Air something or other for your pickup truck.
No, it's the Ram Air transmission pan for the Allison 1000 transmission.
Or the Ram Air diff cover.
Sure.
Or the Ram Air intake.
But this is supposed to be focused right now on...
No, this is all Ram for Rams and not Rams. So
they're not Rams. It's the Ram Air for the GM trucks.
Yeah, that's confusing. Whoever named that marketing, they should be fired.
It's the air gets rammed into.
Right, into their Dodge Ram. So if you want to...
No, this is for the...
BanksPower.com, year, make, model. You can see all the Ram products they make for things that aren't Rams and things that are Rams.
I hope Gail's not listening to this right now.
He's not. He didn't get this far in the show.
No.
He doesn't like us that much.
He tuned out a long time ago. He's listening to Joe Rogan.
Do you think Joe Rogan's looking for really high-quality synthetic lubricants for his ride?
He is a gearhead. You know that, right?
So he probably is well aware of AMSOIL.com and the fact that our friends over at AMSOIL are the first in synthetic. So if you're looking for high-end lubricants and high-end car care products, all the good synthetics that the world has to offer, you can find them right there, AMSOIL.com.
And like I said earlier, there's never been a better time to head over to EGRUSA.com to get your retractable bed cover called the Roll Track. 30% off and a $250 rebate on the manual Roll Track bed covers. Head over now to EGRUSA.com.
I mean, seriously, look, it's a 7.3 stick. It's showroom fresh.
$75,000. Your wife would stab you in the eyes.
Oh, she stabbed me in the face for a lot less than that.
The Truck Show Podcast is a production of Truck Famous LLC. This podcast was created by Sean Holman and Jay Tillis with production elements by DJ Omar Khan. If you like what you've heard, please open your Apple Podcast or Spotify app and give us a 5-star rating. And if you're a fan, there's no better way to show your support than by patronizing our sponsors. Some vehicles may have been harmed during the making of this podcast.